open up and start talking about what everybody wants to talk about. And we're just sick to hear about Carson. And he's done so much for our state, so much for our university, so much for Bison football, and so much for myself that we were just sick to hear about his injury. And he was having an MVP caliber year. I've been fortunate. I've been able to visit with him or communicate with him really on a weekly basis all season long. And that's the one thing that all of us know about Carson. He's an extremely grounded guy that never is going to forget where he came from. And his communication, I know, with like Easton and Cole on a weekly basis has been really impactful for those guys. And wish him nothing but the best, speedy recovery. I love you, Carson, and you'll be back quickly and back better than ever. So let's open up for questions.
Chris, when did you hear about it? Did you see the game yesterday?
I saw some of the game, and I did see that play. Didn't think much of it, and then they scored a touchdown, and then we went back into watching film, and then kind of seen some social media that he was in the tent, and next thing you know, he's injured. And then late in the evening, I guess there were some worse fears were maybe confirmed, and then obviously followed it this morning, shot him a couple of texts this morning, didn't expect to hear back from him. I'll try to visit with him tonight. But, talk about tough news. And, he's playing so well, and he's such a great leader for those guys. And obviously all the other injuries that have happened in the NFL, and he's one of the first guys that always comments about it, and prayers up for everybody else. And now everybody has prayers up for Carson.
What did you see from him going through his injury in college that just gives you confidence he'll mentally be able to stay engaged and come out of this on the other end? Well,
just because he attacks everything. He attacks adversity when it hits, and he had adversity when he was a senior in college and attacked that and was able to play at the end of the year. And same thing with this injury. He'll attack the rehabilitation, and I know he'll come back stronger and better than ever. And hopefully that he'll be able to get most of his, spring and summer routine to be the same, so that he can come back and lead that great franchise, because he's a cornerstone for a decade plus for those guys.
You hear people saying that quarterbacks can't be as mobile as him without the high injury risk. Do you anticipate in any way him changing up his game when he does return?
That's a good question. You can't take the kid out of the guy too, out of the player, and that's the way he plays. He's just he's always going to find a way to make a play, and that's what makes him, I think, so special. So, that one, he was just trying to make a play, and I don't know. I think there's whether it was a hit or did he plant wrong. We see it so much, and it's happening a lot in all levels of football. Some of the non-contact things that cause some of these injuries, and I saw it with Greg Menard and Dylan Radens and Damaris and everybody else. And so it's kind of a freak thing that that was the plan for him, and he'll attack the adversity that he's facing and come back better than ever.
So how do you attack Sam Houston's offense?
Great quarterback, phenomenal quarterback that has a lot of weapons, and they're putting points up on everybody. They want to go with tempo. They want to go with speed. And you see that if they have a successful play on first down, and they're going to come right to the football as quickly as they can and try to do what South Dakota does and try to get you misaligned and work on big plays. They have so many explosive plays. You watch the explosive play tape, and it just goes forever. With deep balls and with short passes, and guys take it the distance, and extremely good running game. So for us, it comes down to, from a South Dakota standpoint, being able to line up. That's the first thing, because of how fast it is, to make sure everybody's aligned correctly, and then to be able to mix up your coverages, your man coverage, as well as your pressures. And we've started to work on that today. We're almost basically counting this as a Tuesday rather than a Monday, so we're fast forwarding a little bit. We did a little bit more last night and this morning, so today will be a Tuesday practice, and so we have to get a jump start on a lot of those things that we just talked about.
Team plays fast. How do you handle substitutions and such?
Well, there's always times where it's an incomplete pass, and you can see you have guys be able to run in and out. They're still going to substitute a running back for a running back, or a wide receiver for a wide receiver, or a tight end periodically, and that's something that the guys in the press box do a really good job of sub, and they see somebody coming in for somebody, then we're going to wholesale substitute as many guys as we can, oftentimes on an incomplete pass, simply because it takes a while to spot a ball and get the ball in play. You're able to do it there. What you have to caution on is a run play or a pass play that stays in bounds and stops on their sideline. You have to be really careful there, because if not, you'll get caught.
Update on the guys we haven't seen in a while that you didn't necessarily say out for the season. Well, Dunn you kind of did, but Dunn, Cofield, Dom Davis.
Yeah, all of them are progressing in with running with Bobby, and I doubt if any of them will be available this week. But it was good to see all three guys running last week towards the end of the week. But running and cutting and practicing are a little bit different, so I don't envision those guys being available. We warmed up Levi, and Levi felt really good on Saturday, so we dressed him as one of our 60 more from an emergency standpoint if something happened to Chris. And so I think having those extra few days with Levi should at least make him a viable candidate to either play for us, help us on special teams, be a guy that can at least be a contributor this week.
Chris, where does Briscoe rank in the list of quarterbacks you've seen this season?
Well, from an accuracy point and an arm strength, probably as good as we have seen. He reminds me of the kid from Eastern Washington as far as his ability to put it in spots that you're like, not very many guys throw it there. He'd be on the hash, and you'll throw a field side out over the top of a underneath defender and in front of a deep defender, and then he throws the deep ball exceptionally well, and they're covered an awful lot, and he puts it in the only spot that his receivers can go get it. And then that's the thing that is so impressive is their guys go and get the football. I mean, there's a lot of 50-50 balls that they're just going to throw up. And he has confidence in their guys, and their guys have come up with a lot of those plays. So, I think he's as good as anybody we've faced from a throwing standpoint.
Chris, you've had more team violations than you ever had in your entire time here. Has that been a distraction?
No, not at all. I mean, you look at the last 2 wins we've had, obviously it hasn't been a distraction at all. And guys make mistakes, and we're going to penalize the guys for the mistakes, and then we'll move forward.
You've been raving kind of about your scout team. Is Michael Tutsi a guy we need to pay attention to moving forward? He seems to win that award every other week. Yeah,
he's fun to watch play, because practice for him is game day, and that's the thing I'm so excited about Michael is he's a coach's kid that understands the game of football really well and plays really, really fast. And our thing that we're going to watch for with Michael is how well will he pick up our defense in the spring, because as a freshman you don't usually pick up a lot of things, and you're just playing off of a scout team card. But if he can understand what we're doing schematically, and I believe he will be able to, he plays really fast and he's got a nose for the football, and I'm excited about Michael.
Cooner come out of Saturday?
Good. It was more of a contusion in his leg. It wasn't like a knee or an ankle, and we're hoping he's going to practice today, so I think Austin will be fine.
I mean, important. I mean, obviously, he's a guy who wants to be out there, but your offense has just been firing on all cylinders, it seems like. How important is he to that? He's
really important because, he's a senior that's played a ton of football for us, and he's one of the few that played against those guys in 2014, and they have one of the best defensive linemen in all of FCS, and he'll play inside and he'll play outside, but gives us a decent matchup when he does play inside, that we have Austin in there, an experienced guy that's a really physical player that understands playoff football. And Austin does such a great job at practice as well of holding guys accountable and being a great leader amongst the Rams.
Kick out of the Friday night game. Do you not like compressing your week of practice, or?
Well, it helps us being at home. That's the major thing is we're at home. So it's one less day for our guys from a recovery standpoint, we'll have all of our game plan and stuff in. We usually get all that in by Thursday. So if we get it in by Thursday, we're set to go. From a recovery standpoint, you always worry about it. But, we've been fortunate, defensively, we haven't played that many plays the last 2 weeks. And then on offense, we've been able to get guys out in the fourth quarter of both the first 2 games we've played. So I don't think it's going to be a factor from a game plan or from our guys being ready to play.
On Saturday, that it seemed like everybody was putting in double time in preparation for Weber. Is that how do you prevent that fatigue from showing through in the Wofford? Excuse me.
Well, they just have a lot on their plate this week with finals and those things, and then being able to prepare for a football game, and as well as get their bodies right and stuff. And everybody's schedule is going to be different. Everybody has a different agenda as far as how many finals they have and what they have to do to get their body ready, as well as how much film they have to watch in order to prepare best they can to be successful on Saturday. I know this. We played a really good game on Saturday, but what you did last Saturday has no bearing on what you do the next Friday or Saturday, and so there won't be any overconfidence or any of that stuff. We have a really good football team coming in that we have a lot of respect for and a lot of history with, and I think you look at the landscape of FCS as it started the season and to where we are now, I really do believe the 4 best teams left are playing, and we're excited, and we're understanding that this is an opportunity for us to play at home. It's an opportunity for our seniors one more time to play their last game of the season, at home.
Can you look at the 2014 tape at all, or is it the same scheme, different players, same scheme?
It's a new OC, it's a new DC. There are some similarities for what they did, but the quarterback ran it a decent amount in 14. Briscoe's not one of those. He's not going to carry it like that. Defensively, they have a new defensive coordinator. There's a little bit different scheme, but from a few players, but it's good football down there. That's the thing, is there's some really good athletes on the offensive side, especially at the skill position, and obviously opportunistic defense. So, yeah, you can look at that, but for the most part, from our schematics, we're going to look at what they've done this year.
Who do they look the most like from your previous schedule on defense?
That's hard to compare, and there's a mixture of some Valley teams, but that's a tough one to compare.
Triple option team last week. This team's a little different. Give me a sense of the gamut of facing such 2 different offenses in 1 week.
One thing is, you don't even grade that game from Saturday. You just flush it and move on, and we'll look at it in the off season. And now some of our individual periods that we have before we get to our team period, we're actually going to work on a pass rush now, which we didn't work any pass rush. We're going to work some man coverage, and we're going to work some. We didn't even have a 7-on-7 period last week. Everything was team, and you work a lot of cut blocks and things. So it is, retrain and refocusing the guys of this is a different game plan now. You like the fact that this is more similar to the style that we've faced all year as opposed to what we had against Wofford. So, you have to retrain the guys a little bit, but we have a lot of veteran guys that know that it's going to come down to us controlling the line of scrimmage on defense and being able to rush the passer so that we can maybe get him into some early throws. And then we have to do a great job in the secondary of playing some 50-50 balls.
How's graduation come into play this week, and do you know off the top of your head how many you have walking?
I think there's 12 or 14 this week, somewhere in there, in that vicinity. It's great. This is the 4th year that I've been a part of it, and I'll get a chance to attend graduation with those guys. Our President Bashani, our university, does a phenomenal job of fitting our guys into the earlier time slot so that those guys are able to go early afternoon. It's pretty cool. You're able to walk and get your degree, and then right after that, you're coming over to the walkthrough, and then right from there you go to pregame meal. Our biggest concern is Coach Kramer making sure that those kids don't go out to eat with their folks and stuff themselves at noon or something, and then be lethargic, because it is such a great day for those guys that they've worked so hard, and in some of them 4.5 years, in some case 3.5 years, getting a degree, and then playing a football game that same day. But something that we're fortunate we've been in this position so often, we've been able to manage.
Related note, how about recruiting? Have you guys been able to get some recruiting done during this time?
Well, we're doing it on a daily basis, but we're not out on a daily basis in front of these guys. But we've done a great job, I think, continuing to build relationships from what we had, especially in the summer with the amount of commitments that we did receive. You're right. I mean, a week from Wednesday, we're going to have a signing date. And, for us, playing the Friday night game, it has value because we will be able to get out on Saturday. Won't be able to get to everybody, but we'll be able to get to a decent amount of guys just to say hello more than anything. But it's a challenge, and this is the first year of that challenge that we're all kind of finding out about. It doesn't matter if you're playing in a bowl game in FBS or playing in the playoffs. It's a new challenge for all of us.
Are you expecting to sign some players on the 20th?
You bet.
What do you anticipate it'll be like next week? If you play, you still got to get ready for that, and then also have a major day out next Wednesday.
Be busy. It'll be, and once again, we're all in uncharted territory on this thing. So, we would kind of block off that day to be part of recruiting, and then the other stuff we'll get to. But luckily we don't. It's not. The championship game wouldn't be on whatever the 23rd or something. There's 3 weeks in between there, but it's Hank Jacobs does a great job right now of doing a lot of things through social media, and then obviously all of the coaches continuing to contact guys and keeping those guys in the loop on things, as well as a lot of those guys communicating with each other.
Let me ask you about. Go ahead, Beth.
Easton Stick is one of those guys graduating this week. Can you just talk about what he's been able to accomplish along with his degree and being your starting quarterback and everything he takes on as the leader of your team?
Yeah, that's a remarkable 3.5 years. He's getting his degree. He's going to go right into the MBA program. Excited for Easton, playing at a really high level, leading at a higher level as far as what he's done and what he's meant to our football team, what he's done off the field in community service, all the things. He's really locked in everything he's doing, and you have to be to get your degree in 3.5 years, as well as to play at the level he's played at, and to do the things he's done in preparation on a weekly basis or a daily basis. Can't be happier for Easton. Just a great leader and a great football player.
Connor Wentz, is there any comparison to his cousin? Are they totally different in a lot of ways?
Oh, there's some similarities in personality. They both always have a smile on their face, and both eager to learn, eager to practice, and both love to compete. That's the thing that I see about both of them. They obviously play different positions and different skill sets, but they both love to compete, and they both are an absolute blast to be around, and both been really productive playmakers for us.
He's handled. Carson's got all the attention, and he hasn't. How's he handled?
He doesn't mind it at all. He kind of chuckles about it and about being the other Wentz and stuff. But he's handled that stuff really, really well, and I think he's had a phenomenal senior season and so well deserving to be able to be first team all conference this year.
What does it say about the Valley again to have 2 teams in the Final Four?
It's our league's really strong, and we were happy that we were people on different sides of the bracket, and for us to get to two of the last 4 to this point speaks volume of how good a football this is, and winning home, winning away, winning some of those different matchups with different leagues. It's great to see.
About Graham Morgan, what he's going through. He's obviously going to walk on Friday. Potential that he may be a dad sometime this week. How has he handled everything, and also still contribute to your football team?
He's been great, and I talk to him kind of each week. Where are we at with this? And of course, he's an expert. Says, well, I think we'll be a week away, or it could be any day. And I said, well, it's not really up to us, Grant, and but he's ready. He's ready for that and being a dad, and he's so excited. We're really happy for Morgan, and whenever that happens, he'll be there. And he's graduating. He's got a job lined up. He's been so instrumental to our football team. He's been one of the leaders of our FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, with our guys. An unbelievable leader and an unbelievable mentor he's been to a lot of younger players on this team.
Did you see Kyle's pick yesterday?
I saw a highlight of it, which was good to see, and have him with the ball in his hands. Reminded of his days back in high school. But no, it's great to see all those guys doing so well, and it's fun when you get all the Pro Bison updates, and we've got a lot of great things going on.
This week that there's a lot of coaches here and your brethren that are saying we have no idea what's going to happen if they're preparing for a bowl game or still in a playoff run, that this could be really wild next week?
It will be wild. I really believe that, and we're confident and we're hopeful that we'll sign an awful lot of guys, just like probably everybody else is as well. But it'll be interesting to see what transpires after that date. What does January become? Does that become junior recruiting, or does it become fill the rest of your class, or does it become, boy, you have to still get a majority of your class? All those things that we're finding out more and more. The hard thing was there wasn't that official visit period in the spring, summer that will be coming up next year.